Good. 3. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Den. I'm your host, Mo, and today we're setting the stage with a dynamo of persuasion, Armash Kamal, whose magic touch has transformed brands from invisible to invisible, from invisible to invisible. A maestro of words and one of Pakistan's premier copywriter. From a struggling engineer to a branding powerhouse, Armash's story is one of resilience and skill. Get ready to dive into the art of copy that sells and find out how the right words can absolutely skyrocket your business with the man who's penned over 3,000 success stories. Kamal, very happy to have you today.
So happy to be here, Mo. It's been a great pleasure. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Lovely. No worries. So your rise from an engineer to a top copywriter is nothing short of inspiring. How did you make that leap? And before even we jump into that, would you be okay if you can share a nutshell about yourself and about the success that you have achieved so far?
Yeah, thank you so much. If I talk about my copy journey and as a coach, so I started off as a copywriter, and then the success that I've got at the moment is that I'm the highest rated copywriter in my country. I've worked on over 3,500 copywriting projects so far, which is something that very few copywriters get to do in a lifetime, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I'm very privileged and blessed to have that.
True.
And then I was, I'm ranking top on Fiverr in every single copy category. I was actually featured #1 in Fiverr's own newsletter worldwide as a copywriter. And I was also featured on Troy's Secrets of Scale podcast, which is the highest eminent podcast for marketers and copywriters, world-class copywriters and marketers. Absolutely. And I'm also proclaimed as Pakistan's #1 copywriter by A-list copywriters themselves. So yeah, if I look at my copywriting journey and copywriting career, I'm very blessed. I think I have achieved a lot in a short period of time. And I think it's all because of my resilience, hard work, and of course, the help from the Almighty, which is the first thing, to be honest. And then as a coach, I also transitioned into teaching other people and to empowering other people to learn this high income skill, because I truly believe that this skill can change your life. As a freelancer, as a business owner, as a marketer, whatever you're doing, copywriting can actually change your life. So as a coach, I'm actually known as my country's top coach. I'm the most trusted, most revered coach in my country. Thousands of people have gone through my paid products, and even more, hundreds of thousands have actually benefited from my free resources, whether it be my YouTube videos or, my live sessions in my Facebook group and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my journey.
Awesome. Outstanding. Absolutely. This is a very inspiring journey. I was one of your clients back in the days. Was very hesitant to have a deal with you. I knew you through Fiverr, and then I was very skeptical about the quality. Usually we have our own in-house copywriters, but as you know, as a marketing agency, sometimes we go above capacity and beyond capacity. So I said, let's have that extra hand that can be plugged in to our business just for one-time projects. And that was like maybe 5-6 years ago. And since then, we've been doing it together. So yeah, awesome. And yeah, back to that. As I mentioned, you are engineer already. So, and you basically grew as an engineer. How and did you make that shift from an engineer to copywriter?
Yes. So Mo, that's a very interesting question. And I graduated from one of the top colleges in my country when it comes to engineering. I did mechanical engineering from one of the most prestigious, and they require a very high merit to actually get into that university. And I actually worked as an engineer for over 3 years, and I worked on a power plant where they make electricity. This was a huge project, 1,200 megawatts of electricity, and we built it from ground up. I was there as a consultant, junior engineer. But, during that job, because I was working on a remote site, away from my city, away from my family, in a remote place, I started getting that feeling that, when I used to think about it, is it me 5 years from now? Is it me my whole life, working on remote places? Once I get married, I'll be moving my spouse with me everywhere, my kids with me everywhere, because they're going to keep on transferring me from one power plant to another. I couldn't see myself fitting into that lifestyle. I always wanted a life where I had some sort of freedom, geographic freedom, of course, financial freedom. Job was not giving me financial freedom either, but most important for me was geographic freedom. I wanted to be living in a place where I wanted to be. So fortunately or unfortunately, as the power plant ended, as the project got completed, my contract also ended, and it didn't renew. So I lost my job. Now that I lost my job, I was still applying for other jobs, but during the meantime, I was now looking at the other opportunities to make money, especially online. And when I started, like almost 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, online earning, especially in my country, was considered a scam. I think before COVID, it was considered skeptical everywhere around the world. Nobody was really looking at online work and online stuff as seriously as people do now. So it was a huge challenge. I didn't believe in it. I thought it's a scam, but I was like, what have I got to lose? I'm applying for jobs. I'm free. Let's just explore some stuff. That's when I came to know about Fiverr. I came to know about technical writing. I created some gigs for technical writing because I had a technical background. I started getting some orders. I started getting some projects. People were paying me. And the very first project that I got, it was after sending 26 proposals. So Fiverr used to have this buy request option. After sending 46 proposals over a span of 26 days, I got no responses. And then 47th proposal I send out, and this guy hires me. And he pays me $40 for an article. When he accepted that, it took me like a day, less, like 5-6 hours of work. So I'm calling it a day's worth of work. When he accepted that and I got that money, it all became real for me. I was like, wow. Yeah, this is real. You can make money online. And I thought, wow, this is 3 times more than what I was getting paid as an engineer in a day. So my 1 day salary was 3 times less than what this guy paid me for a 5 to 6 hours worth of work, which was also really low at that time. But I was so ecstatic. I was like, wow, I made 3 times more money. And I did that while laying on my couch in the comfort of my home. So, things started rolling. I kept on getting technical writing clients. And then I was watching this video from Dan Lok. So I was still exploring other opportunities to make more money online. And that's when in a video from Dan Lok, he was talking about 5 high income skills. And one of the skills he said, any skill that can make you $10,000 or more every month is a high income skill. And one out of those 5 skills, which is the first skill that Dan Lok learned himself as well, was copywriting. As everyone, I thought it is a copywriting with R. I went to Google and I found out, it is copywriting with a W. Okay, so that's writing. And because I was writing already, it fascinated me. And I came to know, wow, it involves, human psychology, persuasion, business, marketing concepts. Very, very fascinating. That's when I started exploring, learning copywriting, started reading books, actually took a training from one of my very first mentors, who was Billy Jean. He's a great marketer. And, that kind of changed everything. Now I started offering my copywriting services on Fiverr, as well as, outside Fiverr. And this time, just sending 4 buy requests or 4 proposals, I got my first project worth $50 for copywriting. And I think the credit goes to copy itself, because once you become a copywriter, you can pitch yourself better as well. So now I was able to pitch myself better. And, then things just started going uphill from there, because copy was extremely highly paid. I was getting work consistently outside Fiverr as well as on Fiverr, kept on building reviews. My profile started ranking very quickly. And, here we are today. I'm ranking top everywhere on Fiverr. And I have a lot of clients that I work outside of Fiverr as well. And I now run a boutique copywriting agency per se. I have other people, my students, who now work with me, who went through my programs, learned copywriting directly from me. Then I gave them some test projects, gave them detailed critique over a call. When they're ready, I actually give them projects from my clients as well. And I do the final review of everything that I send out to my clients. It's been working really well. So I have a team of copywriters as well now. That's where I am. So that's how I made the transition.
Wow. I've been knowing you for ages now. I never got the chance to go through that with you. So I'm pretty sure each and every one is listening to that now and being fascinated by story. I'm equally fascinated because this is truly the first time to know that. So speaking of which, based on what you just mentioned right now, in business, words can be worth their weight in gold, I would say. So how do you craft messages that really hit home with customers?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good question. And I think the number one thing that really plays a huge role in that is research, hands down. I think you need to do a lot of research on your market, on your target audience, the problems they're facing, the fears, the pain points, the desires that they have, the goals that they want to achieve in their lives. So I think research is the number one most important thing if you want to turn your words into gold. Because without research, you're just judging your audience, you're making assumptions about their problems and their desires. But when you actually do research on your audience, deep analysis of what they want and what they don't want in their life, then you can start to understand them better. And then you can create a strategy around that. So the second step is strategy, where you think about the big idea, the mechanism, how you're going to separate yourself from the market, the USP, and then finally you add empathy into it. So you really need to have empathy as a copywriter. You need to understand on a deeper level what your audience wants, what they want to achieve, and then when you're writing the words, you want to be in a mindset, in a phase of mind where you're actually putting yourself in the customer's shoes. If I were them, what would I want to hear? Right? What would I want the other person to say to me that would resonate with me? Right? So I think research, strategy, and empathy, these three things can actually turn words into gold, and they can turn words into money. Right?
Wow. So with that being said, when you say gold and money, something just ticked into my mind right this second. So many people, like talking of skepticism, so many people nowadays are being skeptical of outsourcing the work. Okay, particularly when it comes to copywriting. I will talk more about that when it comes to AI later down this podcast. But in general, people are usually skeptical to outsource copywriters and they prefer to do that in-house. And if they would do so, they would say, I would rather have someone who's English native speaker and not from Pakistan or from Asia, considering the fact that you have worked with some of those top 500 Fortune companies, you have worked with SMBs, you have worked with startups, you have seen everyone and everything, and have worked with so many industries. What would you say to those people who are skeptical about that? How would you give them that assurance that we need to skip and forget about that time when outsourcing from Asia or outsourcing from non-Western country means low quality? What would you say to that? Because I'm pretty sure you come across that all the day.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty great question and something I also get asked a lot. I think, it all boils down to one thing, and that is that copywriting is not all about writing. If it was all about writing, if it was like a novel, like a fiction, I would say go with a native, right? Because they are going to be better at writing their own language. The writing in copywriting is just 20% max. There is writing involved, but it's 20%. The rest of the stuff is research, strategy, as I said, finding out the best angles, the idea, the mechanism, the USP, finding the pain points of your audience, and then, you're linking them with that. Finding the voice of the brand you're writing for, the voice of the customers that you're writing for. So I think even if non-native copywriters, if they are good at grammar, that's important. They need to be very good. Their grammar needs to be airtight, solid. If they are good at grammar and they are actually good at the persuasion tactics and they have learned copy and they know how to find out the problems, pain points, and how to translate that into good copy, I think they can do a better job than natives many times. Not always. Some natives who have really put in the reps, they can also do very good copy. But I have seen time and time again that clients come to me, they have been burned by the natives. Native copywriter has written their copy. It has grammatical issues. It has other problems from copy standpoint. They didn't understand the market that better. They didn't write to the core problem of the market. So when you're judging a copy, you're not just looking at the English. English is just one part of it. There are so many other elements that play more important role when it comes to conversions. So yeah, if you're looking to hire a copywriter, don't just look at it in a way that, oh my God, if I hire a native, he's going to write better English. Sure, he's going to write better English, maybe, but he's not going to write better copy 100%. So you need to hire a copywriter. And for that, I think non-natives can do equally well if they're actually trained.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, I think I'm going to steal that, to be honest with you, when I get asked about that in the future. So when we say all of that, I want to know from you, who did inspire your journey in copywriting, and how have the lessons powered your success?
Yeah, so I think number one, I'm going to say Dan Lok, because his video is the one that literally told me or gave me an idea about copywriting. I didn't learn anything further from Dan Lok, to be honest. He just gave me the idea of copywriting. After that, I think the number one book that really changed everything for me was Joe Vitale's Hypnotic Writing. Hypnotic Writing by Joe Vitale, one of the best books in copywriting, and persuasion. So this book, I read it it was like a Netflix movie, to be honest. I've read that book numerous times now. And this book actually developed my understanding of how words can be so powerful, how words can persuade and influence people to do anything you want them to do. So I think my number one mentor or virtual mentor would be Joe Vitale. I learned a great deal from him. And after that, it was Billy Jean, one of the greatest marketers on the planet. I have been in his live mentorship trainings, and I've learned a lot from him when it comes to fixing bad ads, fixing bad copy, making copy congruent across all the funnel. The ad should be congruent with the landing page should be congruent with the order page and stuff like that. And then, coming up with big ideas, the angles, and then also pushing the boundaries. Billy really inspired me and empowered me to think big and do big. And after that, I would say there are a bunch of other names like Frank Kern, Stefan Georgi. I really follow that person. Alan Sultanich. I've been in his NHP Plus as well. So yeah, learning from anything good that I can find. But one of the main people, I would say, the person would be Joe Vitale, and then after that, Billy Jean.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier about that, because each and every one of you, the people who you mentioned, I personally follow as well. And I couldn't agree more with you on that. Though I noticed that you mentioned numerously about persuasion and storytelling. So storytelling can turn a product into an experience. I know this for a fact. Can you give me and give everyone who's listening a sneak peek into how you create those stories?
Yeah, I think, storytelling is a very tricky thing, especially when it comes to copywriting. Many people think that they just need to tell stories when it's not true. A story in copy is very different from story in fiction or a movie or a novel. In copy, your story needs to be about your audience. So the main character in your story when it comes to copy is always going to be your target market. It's going to be your audience. So you do all the research on your target market. You find out their fears, their pain points, their goals, their desires, and then you build a character in your story that is revolving around these things. He has the same fears, the same problems. Only then your market will be interested in hearing your story. So how to write engaging stories. Make it about the audience, The character is your target market. That's when they hear your story. That's when your story gets engaging to them. So it involves, again, a lot of research, character building. There should be visual elements, depth into your story. So you don't just say, he was going in a car. You tell them what he was wearing, what was on the radio, what was going on around him. So you give them these visual details. This adds a lot of depth to it, right? And then you smoothly transition into the product, which is so important. So many copywriters, they might write good stories, but they forget the number one goal of a story. The number one goal is to lead your audience into your offer, your solution with this story. So then you need to smoothly transit into your product, into your service, and then, you give them your offer and the CTA. So I think that's the best possible way I can tell you how you can write great stories, is that make them about your audience.
Your audience, outstanding, outstanding. I also believe that most of what you mentioned fit with how entrepreneurs think and how entrepreneurs digest information and how they make their decisions and how they use storytelling as well. And speaking of entrepreneurship, I believe every entrepreneur wants to stand out. Okay. What's your strategy for writing a copy that breaks through the noise?
Yeah, I think that's a very good one. So I think number one, in today's world where there is a lot of noise online, number one, what you need to do is be authentic and be yourself. That's the number one I'll tell you, because everyone has their unique voice. If you try to be like someone else, that someone is always going to be better than you because he is himself. So you have to be yourself. Nobody can beat you at that. Number two, you gotta be bold and you gotta be different. That's so important today. You can't keep on doing the things that everyone else has been doing. You need to do something different, not stupid different, but good different. So because there is a very fine line. You don't want to reinvent the wheel either. You don't want to do something completely different that has not worked or proven to work for anyone in the past. But I'm just saying that you don't reinvent the wheel either, but you try to be bold and different. You try to express your ideas, whatever you get. If it's a different idea, if it's a bold idea, it will work, right? So that's one way to break through the noise. The second thing I think that has worked really well is to violate the expectations, because people are so used to getting bombarded with all these messages every day. If you can find an angle to, violate their expectations, that would help you a lot in your niche. And then finally, I would say it's about, when it comes to copy, it's about finding the big idea, the big angle that people haven't heard before, that people, so, you're hitting people from different angles. That's so important. So you need to come up with angles that nobody else has used, and that will get you attention. So attention is, I think, the number one thing today in the market. If you can find a way to grab that attention, you will win. And finally, I think it boils down to the mechanism and the USP. So if your mechanism is unique with your product or your service or whatever you're doing, you're going to get a lot of traction. And then your USP, right? When we are actually talking about your particular product or service, we need to boil down what your USP is and how your product is different from everything else that is out there in the market. Yeah.
Fabulous. Different. You said different to everything else, which is exactly what people try to do when it comes to finding new ideas, to make sure, basically, as you mentioned, they're not stupidly different, but they are useful and new, or novel, I would say, because that's the exact definition. That's the exact definition of innovation: to find something useful and new, which takes forever to find it. And even after you find it, you will have to keep testing and testing and testing to validate the idea. So it's a long journey. So that would take me to that. Would you mind if you can walk us through the process for turning a simple idea into a compelling campaign?
Yeah, for sure. So I think when you're trying to turn any simple thing into more compelling, persuasive, and fun thing, I think the number one way is to, you find a way to make it fun and easily relatable for the audience. So again, it boils down to that, right? So whatever your idea is, you try to find a way how you can link that idea to your audience's biggest benefit or their biggest fear, right? So you need to do some brainstorming, you need to do some research, and then you need to change the perception, and you need to make it seem like it's super important and it's the need of the hour. So whatever you're talking about, you can make it important if you are creative. You can make your audience think that, look, what I'm about to tell you is so important that you can't ignore it. You have to pay attention to it right now. And for that, again, whatever idea is, you have to find an angle that will present it like something new, something big, something very important. So yeah, I think that's how you can turn any simple idea, even the simplest of ideas, you can turn them into the big ideas. And I'm going to give you a small example. We were talking in a program last week in a class where I was talking to my students, and I told them, look, can you make anything, the most simple thing, life-changing? Can you add the word life-changing to the most simple product, whatever that is? And they were like, sir, why do we need to do that? And I was like, because if your product is life-changing, it is big. It is super important.
True. Yeah.
So even if it's a simple product, if you can make it seem like it is a life-changing product, and then I gave them an example, and I'm going to give you the same example from the back of my mind. It was a tool that helps you make your Facebook ads better in terms of targeting. So you can target better in your Facebook ads with this tool. So now this is a tool that can help you target better in Facebook ads. Now it's a simple tool, right? It's going to make your targeting better. How can I make it life-changing, right? That's the idea. How to make it big, super important. And here we talk about, look, this tool is going to help you pinpoint the audience that you want to target. It means that you will now be able to reach people who are desperately in need of your product, and they will be ready to buy your product. It means that you will be spending less money on your Facebook ads and making more money with your business. This means that your business will now finally start going in the right direction. Your competitors will start getting behind you because now you're getting the major market share. You will not be spending the hours that you spend every day figuring out what's wrong with my Facebook ads. Why is my money going down the drain? You won't have any more sleepless nights where you're thinking about, wow, my business is actually going to go bankrupt soon if I don't do anything about my ads. You're not going to think about how you will be disappointing your wife or your kids. Instead, you will now be thinking about how your kids will be so proud of you, your spouse will be so proud of you, everyone will be looking at you with envy, and how you will be dominating the market and actually achieving your dreams that you had from years ago when you started your business in the first place. So think of this tool not just like a tool which is actually going to change your targeting or make it better. It's actually going to change your complete life. So
absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you on that. Absolutely. So I think we're referring to the tool that you're referring to, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Advanced Plus Shopping Campaign. So people can write it down.
I don't have any particular tool in mind. I'm just saying, there are tools from Neil Patel and people like that.
Because what you were saying, basically, exactly what Facebook has launched recently. So you're talking about something valid anyway. So that's exactly what Facebook wanted to do, or Meta, I would say. They wanted to launch what they call Advanced Plus Shopping Campaign. So it does the job. So I think, you're doing exactly what they're now promoting. So spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tool that I made it live.
Yeah, it is.
And then I gave them an assignment where I asked them to, Elfie, Elfie.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them to write few paragraphs how you will turn an Elfie into a life-changing product.
Right.
What would you do?
The small one. Okay, right.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I have it here actually.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, it whenever something is broken, you can use it to fix it.
Absolutely.
So I told them how you can make this product life-changing. If you were to promote it, what angle would you use? That this is not just something that will, fix the broken things, but it will actually change your life. How can you do that? Be creative.
Very true. Very true. So speaking of your students and your academy or your agency, as a coach, what's the one piece of advice you find yourself repeating to up and coming writers?
Yeah, that's easy. Number one advice, read good copy. That's all. Because I believe fundamentally copywriting has a language of its own. Whether you're writing it in English, German, Hebrew, Urdu, Hindi, it doesn't matter. Copywriting has a language of its own. There's a set of words, the way you say those words, the sequence of those words, and the way you structure your paragraphs, and the whole structure, the formula that you're using behind any piece of copy. So it has a language, it has a terminology. The more you read good copy, the more language you will absorb. That's how when a kid is born, a baby, he's only listening for 1 to 2 years or 1 year. And after that, when he starts speaking your language. So as an up and coming copywriter, you need to listen like a baby to all the good pieces of copy that are out there in the market. Keep on listening, and then start writing. So that's the second tip. Now, when you start writing, good copy will come out of your hands automatically, like on autopilot. You won't even realize, why am I writing such good words? Why do they make sense? Because you've absorbed a lot of good copy. whether it be guarantee section, benefit section, lead, story, background story, study the elements, pick up how good copywriters write those things. And then the writing part. That's the second mistake most people make. They're like, oh, wow, sir, I have, Armash, I have studied, for 4 months. I've taken this course and that course and blah, blah, blah. But, I'm the number one thing I'm stuck at is the writing part. I haven't been able to write anything. Yeah, that's why you're not able to become a copywriter, because you haven't written anything. You've just read a bunch of books. You've taken all these courses. You've done all the easy stuff. And the hard part, that is actually getting into action and writing stuff, putting them on the paper, that's the hard part. And you haven't done it at all. So copywriting is like mathematics. The more you practice, the better you get at it. So if you don't start writing, you will never get better at it. You have to write, you have to fail, you have to pick yourself up, write again, pick yourself up, write again. Once you have written 10, 15, 20, 25 pieces of copy, you will see that you have already made dramatic improvement when it comes to actually putting your ideas onto paper. So yeah, read good copy and write, practice.
And write, read and write. So if I'm going to execute your ideas, your suggestions, I would say, into marketing and branding, because I believe branding, marketing, copywriting, they're all family from the same family. So what would you say in terms of your opinion of copywriting as shaping the future of branding and marketing? How do you see that?
Yeah, so I think copywriting is going to play a very major role when it comes to marketing, when it comes to branding, because with the advent of AI specifically, human voice is going to be so important, and standing out in the market is going to be even important. So because there is a lot of noise right now, there are so many new businesses coming up, and many are using AI right now. Some are using copywriters as well. So I think copywriting is going to play a huge role when it comes to building your brand, because great copy will help you stand out in the market and, spread your message across as clearly as possible. So it's all about, getting your message across to the people and telling them how you are actually their voices. You are about solving their problem, right? And you have the product or the service that can actually help them. So even if you have the best product in the world, if nobody is hearing you, you will not be able to make any sales. And I think copywriting will help you even more in the future to actually stand out in the market, cut through the noise, and get your message across that, look, I am here, I can help you, my product can help you, come and have a look, see for yourself.
Awesome. Everything you said is legendary. So are your workshops. So leveraging your workshops, leveraging your legendary experience, what's the key lesson you want every participant to leave with?
Yeah, so a short answer: inspired, empowered, and equipped with tools to succeed. So that's what I want to do with everything that I do, whether it be my YouTube, whether it be my paid workshop or my paid training programs where I give them live classes. I want to inspire people, give them awareness about copy, and then give them motivation, empower them, and then finally equip them with the tools and the knowledge that they can use to go out there in the world and succeed. Because when I was starting out, I didn't have anyone to ask from. I didn't have anyone to go to when I had these small problems. So a client came to me for a brochure. I'm like, oh, what the hell is a brochure? How do I write a brochure copy, right? So a client comes to me for a bridge page. What the hell is a bridge page? Who am I going to ask? I had nobody to do that, right? I had foreign mentors, but they only respond via email, perhaps 3 days later. I didn't have anyone that I could reach out ASAP. That's why when people come to my programs, my number one priority is that they should have someone they can look up to and they can hit up whenever they get stuck. And secondly, I want to give everything that I've learned over the years without keeping any secret. I think that's my USP in a way as well, that I give out everything so transparently without keeping anything. So whatever I've learned, the samples I have on every piece of copy, the clients I work with, I give out and teach everything so that my students never face a scenario where they're blank. Okay, what do I do now? Everything that they deal with, every problem that comes their way, I have already talked about that in one of my classes, right? So they're like, oh yeah, Armash talked about that in that module. I know, right?
True.
That's my goal.
That's your goal. With inspiration, as much as your positive intention, and your efforts basically to inspire people, to motivate people, to show them that I'm here for you, 100% they will still struggle, irrespective to whatever you do, they will still struggle basically with their own projects. So rather than waiting until they fail, I always love to share some of the tips basically from you on that and shed some lights, excuse me, so they can benefit from your experience basically to avoid some traps. So how do you as Armash handle such a huge volume of projects without dropping the ball on quality? Because that's one of the things that will come into people's minds.
Yeah. So as I said, I have my students handpicked. It's a team of handpicked copywriters who I have personally trained. So they go through my training program, which is around 2.5 to 3 months long. After that, I pick up so they get a bunch of assignments. My students finish them. And then I look at these assignments when I'm checking them. I handpick the top people in every batch. Okay, this guy has a lot of spark. Well, this guy is so creative. Or this guy is writing so different. And then I give them test projects, right? So I always handpick. Nobody is applying in my agency. I'm always handpicking them. Right. And then I give them test projects. They do them. I look at their copy. I pick up 1 to 2 people out of those 3, 4 that I'm testing. I take them on a Zoom call. The people I see that, okay, these guys have a lot of spark. I take them on a Zoom call, give them an hour-long critique, telling them what's wrong with this piece of copy and how they can make it better. And then I do that consistently for the next few projects to a point where they are sending me copy that is very good from draft 1, right? That is aligning with my quality standards, right? That's one way to assure quality. So whenever a client gives me a project, I do a strategy call with my copywriter. We hop on a call. I explain to him the whole strategy, how we're going to tackle this project, what sort of mechanism, USP we're going to be using, what sort of structure we're going to use in this copy. After that, I hand over the project to him. He finishes it, and then he sends it over to me, and then I do the final review of that copy. If there is something I believe is missing, I tell him, go fix it. At this point, they are very capable of taking feedback and implementing it when I do give it to them. And then when I believe something is ready to be forwarded to the client, that's when I send it over to the client. And after that, if the client has any issues or if he thinks that something needs to be changed, I always offer revisions until satisfied, because I truly believe that I don't deserve your money if you're not happy with the copy. Results come after. You need to be happy with the copy yourself. So yeah, that's how I assure quality.
Lovely. On that point, I'm pretty sure everyone right now is waiting eagerly to know your opinion on the following point, which is AI. So many copywriters are very skeptical of the future career, and they believe that AI is going to eat our lunch. We will no longer be hired, particularly startups, I would say, newbie copywriters, okay? Those who don't have enough securities. More importantly, or I'd say even worse, those who are planning to join the industry. They're very skeptical about AI. They're very skeptical about what ChatGPT can do for them. What's your feedback on that?
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate question and that's a legitimate concern. I think if you need to stand out in the market right now and you need to get AI proof, I think as a beginner, you need to now put in more reps. You need to now learn copywriting from a holistic standpoint. You need to learn the principles of persuasion, marketing, funnels, strategy. You need to find out how the online marketing system works, what kind of strategy people are using, how you can help people stand out in the market, different types of funnel structures. So you can't just be about words when you're starting out. You need to have something more in your arsenal. I would say as a copywriter, you should now study marketing as well, whether it be email marketing, running Facebook, Google ads, stuff like that. This will help you establish a better understanding of the overall online world. This way, when you're going in a call with a client, you're giving them a strategy instead of just telling them that I will write words for you. And as a beginner, when you don't have a lot of testimonials, case studies or results to show to your clients, they're not going to trust you. They are better off writing copy with AI than to give the project to you. But when you tell them the strategy and give them this high level stuff, they're very likely to hire you over using AI. Even if they think you are going to use AI, they will still go with you, and they would rather you use AI than they using it themselves, because you know the strategy and the marketing stuff better than them. And in the long term, I would say for people who are intermediate or expert copywriters, I think AI is just going to help you. Simple as that. And you probably already know that. Me as a copywriter with 5 to 6 years of experience, I personally, to be honest, I don't use AI a lot when I'm writing copy. I'm guilty of that. Maybe I should start using AI more. But for some reason, I can write copy faster than AI does, good copy. Because when AI gives me something, it's so bad that I have to do so many edits. It's so easy for me to just sit down, close my eyes, and start writing copy after doing deep research on the audience. So I use AI for research purposes. I ask it stuff about my audience, which it helps me with. But writing the copy, I think I do it faster than AI. And even my first draft is almost always better than what AI gives me. But in the future, when AI gets better and better, I think it will be able to help copywriters more. You will be able to do more work in less time. You'll be charging a lot of money to your clients because you'll be handling more projects in a day. Simple as that. So I think AI is not going to replace you. It's just a tool like every other tool on the planet. Clients won't be able to use AI better than copywriters, and they won't be able to judge if the copy given by AI is even good enough because they haven't studied the fundamentals of marketing or persuasion. Number one tip I can give you to end this answer is that gone are the days when you could learn 2 formulas, PAS and AIDA, and call yourself a copywriter. You have to do more than that now. In the past, you could learn problem, agitate, solve, AIDA, and you could start writing copy for clients because clients had no other alternative. Now they have AI. So you need to learn more than that. You need to put in more effort, perhaps 4 to 6 months of deep study of persuasion, marketing, psychology, and sales, and then jumping into the market.
Absolutely. I believe, just for in case people ask about what AIDA, that stood for attention, interest, desire, and action model. I want to add something to what you mentioned on AI and how it can work side to side with copywriters. From my experience, basically, as you mentioned, yes, it's 100% a tool. However, AI so far, and not even in the near future, would be able to understand the needs of human being like human being. Proof to that? Chats, bots. Bots have been there for so long. Whenever you try to go to any website, you're not happy, click on the live chat button. You see those bots, you're off. You feel like, I'm not happy. I want to leave. Why? Because the bot doesn't have the answer to your question. It could, but you feel like it's not going to understand me. Wherever I try to type, it will show me something irrelevant to what I need and not what I need. Copywriters have that advantage, which is they're human beings who work with human beings. So you understand the human being mindset than an AI. AI, understand, doesn't feel, but you feel. So by just talking to the customer, you understand their impressions, you feel what they want to say. Pretty much, if you don't have that advantage, AI will eat you alive, which is if you are unable to read what's between the lines. Yeah. That would save a lot of time. That's what makes rapid relationship. When you work with a company, when you work with an agency, that they say just 5-6 words, and you know what they need based on those 5-6 words. Yeah, I never do that. Yeah.
I think AI has its own voice. Like humans have their own voice, robots have their own voice. Whenever you're talking to a bot, it's a bot because they have their own voice.
True.
So even if AI was to one day mimic the voice of human beings, it would still have its own unique voice. And when 100 brands selling the same service are using AI for their copy, who are you going to trust? Because at the end of the day, it's about taking out your wallet, credit card, and paying for the service. When every brand is using the same sort of language, the same sort of voice, people are not going to trust anyone. So you always need to be different. And you can only be different when a different human copywriter is writing your copy. That's when you get different from everything else on the market. And standing out in the market will become even crucial as we go into the future, because there will be so much bought copy that people will crave for human authentic words from a brand. And the brands that are using that, people are going to be more likely to trust them over bot generated copy, I think.
Yeah, true. Well, as they say, good time usually ends. I don't want to end it. So that's why I will try to push it as much as I can to the last question, because I don't want this to end, to be honest with you. I do not want this to end. So to prolong this honey time with you, what's in the pipeline for you as Armash? Any exciting projects that our listeners should look out for?
Yeah, I think in the very near future, I want to ramp up the frequency of uploading my YouTube videos, because I think they are super valuable. So many lives are changing. I get a message almost every day, like one message at least, where people are telling me, oh my God, your video actually helped me a lot. I was so confused and now I have a lot of clarity. Please, brother, keep on making more videos, stuff like that. So I think I'm going to ramp up the frequency of uploading my YouTube videos on the topics of copywriting, marketing, and freelancing. And then I want to do more podcasts like this moving on. I've done a few in the past, and I'm doing this one, an incredible one with you now. I want to increase the frequency of doing more podcasts. I think with podcasts, I can reach a wider audience, I can spread more awareness, and I can spread my mission better. And then finally, I also plan to go international with my coaching program. So your audience, which is also going to be international, they should be looking up to that, because I'm finally thinking about going international with my coaching programs. So I will be teaching in complete English, so people who are natives can also take advantage of it. So yeah, these are some of the cool things that I'm planning to do in the future.
Absolutely. That's a great news. Well, I believe that was one of the best interviews that I have ever done since I started the Entrepreneur's Den. Kamal, as I always call you, thank you very much. And I would say that's a wrap of today's episode of Entrepreneur's Den. A huge, huge, huge thanks and e-hugs to you, Kamal, for dropping by and dropping knowledge. To all you dreamers and those out there, keep your ambitions high and your strategies sharp. And remember, in the world of business, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it pretty much, and how you draft it. Until then, keep crafting your story, one word at a time. This is your host, Mo, also known as the Ultimate Entrepreneur. It was a great pleasure to have you come out today, and I look forward to hosting you for another episode. Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, bro. Okay.